when I realized if you are a business owner of your own business, especially real estate, but anything, people need to know what you do to do business with you. They need to know you and they need to know what you do. And if they don't know those things, how can they possibly do business with you? So it was something I started embracing after I left the corporate world, and maybe went overboard on it, but I can't complain. It's only done, it definitely has returned um, as an investment, but I just have fun on social media. But I highly encourage you to, if you are in the business of real estate and you want to leverage social media to grow your business, use it, use the hell out of it. I everyone should do it. Like there's not, unless you've got another, unless you'll be like, no, I'm good, like just where you're at, then that's, on you. But it absolutely works. It absolutely can get you deals. It absolutely can help you grow your brand. You got to be out there and it's free. So there's like no excuse other than to start using it and posting content. I'm a huge advocate of it because that's why actually I'm even on speaking here today, was all through social media connections and me getting out of my comfort zone, going live on Facebook, telling the world what I do. And so huge fan of that. So here it is. It's an actual monetary payoff. No longer is it, well, yeah, I think it's helped the brand growth and I think it's helped people know what I do, which it absolutely has, but boom, direct deal from Instagram. Why? Well, so you could, in the greater scheme of, not greater scheme, but it's a sphere of influence deal, right? Someone who knows me through a circle, either a circle of friends or a circle of, Instagram connection, or someone, a sphere of influence. But where was the, where did they enter the funnel, so to speak? Instagram. That was the entry point. It could have been a marketing email. It could have been an ad they saw somewhere else. But how did they come into my sphere? Instagram. So what's the story on that? Well, I just post stuff, like not necessarily all robotically about business. Most of it's just about what I do in my life and day-to-day stuff, which I'm pretty much eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. So there's always an underlying theme either about that, self-improvement, self-development, like business growth and, entrepreneurship, all that kind of stuff. So, I was cooking eggs on the stove and did just a Instagram story shot of it and asked the question, do you prefer your eggs runny or not runny? And this dude responded, he's like, I hear if you eat the yolk, you get yoked, or with a runny yolk, you get yoked. Yoked is like a bodybuilding term. It means you're like ripped and have size. Anyway, it means like, okay, it was like a joke, right? So cool. So out of nothing to do with real estate, nothing to do with real estate at all. But anyway, this dude hits me up a few months later and says, hey, my grandma wants to sell her house. Okay. He's like, yeah, it needs some work. It doesn't need a whole lot of work, but would you come over and take a look at it? So off of a, completely unrelated, just talking about life, basically, but people know what you do. Like people know just because you're just living your life. That's all it is. Like that's all you have to do. You don't overthink it, like getting on your phone and picking up. Like everyone has the most powerful device right now. They're either watching this on that or have it in their hand or have this. You have this thing right here that can put your message in front of the world. It's freaking crazy. The thing though that stopped me for a long time, and I think it stops a lot of people, is you don't know what to do with it. And the best thing to do is just start doing. Just get on there, start producing content, start getting on video, start going live. Just basically the simplest thing is add value to your community, whatever you're in, whatever field you're in, whatever your have a level of expertise in, or knowledge or experience where you can add value to other people's lives. Like if you want to grow an account like around that, like this is real estate, and also I guess non-real estate related too, but start offering guidance, tips, things you do, things you've done, things that have helped you within that sector. If it's real estate, which I think it's probably for most of us here, start posting about your deals, talking about what you do. It can only help and grow your sphere of influence, especially for real estate agents. I mean, you almost have no choice to be able to not to it's like mandatory. Got to be on social media, like got to leverage it. It's just right there. But the thing is, people overthink it. Just get on there. It feels weird at first. Anyway, real estate's a relationship business. And that's exactly what happened. A relationship was birthed through Instagram. What the heck? So the seller knows I flip houses. It's owned free and clear. It's the seller's second home. It was their old first home. It was actually rented to a family member who was the guy who gave me who DM'd me on IG. They wanted to cash out, and they wanted to pay off the current house that they lived in. They lived 3 hours away, didn't want to make any repairs, and didn't want to deal with any showings. So that's kind of like, all pertinent info as to, how it came about, and, them being out of the area. It's inconvenient. They didn't want to make any repairs. They already attempted to do some repairs and left some things sort of incomplete. It was a case of kind of just being over it in a sense as well too, and just wanting it to be done quick. So all of these things factor in. How do I know all this? Well, I had to get to know them. I had to get to know the situation. I had to find out, what's important to them. And that's what we're doing as real estate investors. We're solving problems. And especially with seller financing, because then, you're taking it to the next level. You're not just saying, okay, I'll give you whatever 65 cents on the dollar, or 75 cents, or, whatever your cash offer is. You're literally creatively solving their problem based around their situation with finances that they have available that are untapped. You have like an untapped resource there of money that you just have to be able to present in a way that in a way that makes the most sense for everyone. It's just pretty freaking cool if you look at it like that. So you put the pieces together. They wanted a cash offer. They were tired of dealing with it. They didn't want to hassle. But they needed service. That was a big thing for them. Like, they wanted to make the fewest amount of phone calls. They wanted to have as little to do with the whole thing as possible. And like super, super, super minimal interaction. And great. If that means me, making a few extra stops, like if I got to go to the FedEx store or, UPS store, or, whatever FedEx goes, to go mail a few things, if I had to grab a couple papers, no problem. Like, no problem. That's the difference between us and like strictly a real estate agent who is operating within the confines. I'm also, by the way, a licensed real estate agent, so I could talk both sides. But I wasn't when I started. I started completely no license and only added that later on. But you're multidimensionally helping these people, doing whatever it takes, in other words, like not staying within the confines of what you think you're supposed to do, but just doing whatever it takes to get to the finish line with them, with everybody getting what they're supposed to get. So they needed service, and not everyone wants to work with a traditional realtor. So I made them a cash offer, actually not intending to seller finance this deal up front. Like, I wasn't actually, I didn't have that thought on my mind. I just started with an offer. So I took that approach where, like I mentioned earlier, 3 options, or I'll do the cash and then come around to the seller financing. So I wasn't really intending to, but it lent itself to the next step, which was perfect, because I would have bought it either way. It was at a cash price that I was like, you know, it was made a lot of sense. So sellers got to remember this. Sellers will trade equity for convenience. Okay, so it goes back to the distressed house versus distressed seller being two separate things. So you can picture a distressed house, right? It's got, you know, shingles just flying off in the wind. You've got, you know, the front doors boarded up, keep out, you know, yards all overgrown, super distressed property. Distressed seller could be a nice property, could be perfect condition. So there's we make money as real estate investors in two places, basically in equity that when we basically force a property to appreciate by adding value to it, by adding value through upgrades, well, repairs, upgrades, renovation, remodel, you know, modernizing, you know, we add value in that sense. So that's one way we can gain equity. We also gain equity through negotiation, through providing the service that we provide to market, to sellers. That's where the convenience comes in. So seller has so much equity. Yes, they're willing to give you, you know, whatever discount on the property because of the fact that it needs a new roof. But the fact that you'll buy it and close in 2 weeks, great. They might be willing to give another 15, 20 grand off just for that, you know, convenience. So they'll trade equity for convenience. So the seller agreed to a purchase price of $270,000. The property needs about $30,000 to repair retail. So if they were looking to repair it through the phone book or through Google, they would end up spending probably about 30 grand. It wouldn't cost me that much because of, you know, I've got contractors I already work with and all of that, and you know what to buy, know what not to buy, with an ARV of approximately 350 to 360. So how did it all go down? Because that's really is what is important, because I figure if you can walk through and see how this kind of works, then you'll be like, okay, I could do that. I could go see myself, you know, making these same, you know, having these same conversations, taking these same actions. So after we agreed on a sale price of $270,000, that's after I walked the property and told them, you know, what I really could pay for it. So before I went the hard money route, I asked, would you be interested in receiving rent payments for a few months on top of the $270,000 and then getting the full payout in 3 months? So just like that. So I'm phrasing it, I'm using very familiar terms, rent payments for a few months on top of, you know, the amount, and then getting the full payout. You know, I'm not talking about, you know, this percent interest over annualized, you know, divided by 12 times 3, like none of that. I'm just talking in very simple terms and to where it makes sense. They asked how much, you know, because I thought if you propose something that's straightforward, makes sense, well, how much? And so then I proposed $1,500 a month. I could pay $1,500 a month. How does that sound? That'd be another $4,500 in your pocket at the end of 3 months. And I knew I wanted this. I knew my exit strategy ahead of time. I knew I wanted the property for a quick, just basically clean it up real quick, shine up the floors, spray on the window so it didn't squeak as you open and closed it. You know, paint a couple walls. You know, clean up the yard a bit, patch a few holes, just a lot of just fix it stuff, like here and there stuff. Like about 2 weeks or so to do, but just lots of little odds and ends. So I knew I could get it fixed up, put it back on the market, and sell it, and be out in 90 days. So that was my plan with this one. If it needed a bigger renovation, I would have set it up for either that renovation to get done really fast, or more likely a longer timeline. So I'm not, you know, 90 days is pretty quick. Did I make it happen? Yes, I did. but it's got to be, you got to think about it ahead of time. What if I couldn't make it happen? Well, then I would ask for an extension. So there's always a solution, but this made a lot of sense for them. They said yes. But wait, it gets better. Because remember, seller financing, you control the terms, you structure the terms. If anyone has any questions too, I'll answer those at the end. But it does get better. So, okay, that sounds good. We'll set up the deal so you get paid from now until the home sells in about 3 months. So when it's all said and done, you'll receive the total amount of $270,000 plus $1,500 per month for each month at the closing in 3 months from now. They said, great, that works for us. And it looked like I got an apostrophe in there. Be my own grammar police. So they said, great. But did you catch that last phrase there? $1,500 per month for each month at the closing in 3 months from now. Say that again. At the closing in 3 months from now, meaning I'm not paying $1,500 every 30 days. I'm paying them $1,500 per month, but all at the end. So this is all accrued. Why? Because that's what I proposed. And they said, that works for us. Cool. Even better. So let's recap real quick. This is a 0 down payment. My only out-of-pocket expenses are closing costs, insurance, renovation expenses, utilities, and everything else is due upon the sale of the property at closing. All the interest, all the principal. This is 0 down on, you saw the picture of that house. Probably not what you would think of as what's possible, as at least not what I would think was possible back when I started, you know, that this is actually, whoa, you can do this stuff. Pretty sweet deal, right? So approximately a $50,000 profit with minimal out-of-pocket expenses, you know, closing, renovation being the largest of those expenses, you know, insurance, utilities, and all of those expenses could be put on a credit card or borrowed from another investor, partner, if you don't want to use your own cash for the deal. So it's like, there's no excuses, pull out all the stops, you know, there's money out there to make deals with. And it's just about finding solutions. So I do want to give everyone the opportunity right now to, you can schedule just a 15-minute quick business chat call with me at no charge, completely complimentary, if I could say that word, to anyone that just wants to chat for 15 minutes about your business, what questions you have about your business, what's the biggest hurdle, what's the biggest problem you have in your real estate business right now. You know, I'll be glad to answer that question to the best of my ability. If you want to do that, or if you want to find out more about Friendly Flipper Academy, about my coaching program, about how I partner with students across the United States and work with them, and turnkey, you know, I have turnkey marketing available as far as, you know, lists, skip tracing, all of that stuff. We leverage all of those things and I help people at all different levels, from newbies to experienced investors. You can get there by the link, the Calendly link. And in fact, I should probably put it in the chat. That would be smart if I did that. So what questions can I answer? Let me stop the screen share.
That was fantastic, Jeremy.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Linda. I appreciate it. Happy to, you know, answer any questions, share any knowledge I have about this or anything else related.
Yes, there is a question from Terry who says, do you do JVs, Jeremy? Would you be willing to do a JV or to, you know, maybe either mentor or help Terry out? He's doing deals in Chicago.
The answer is yes. Yes, I do. Yeah, that's how the partnership program is actually structured through a JV. And yeah, that'd be something I definitely we can talk about. Just use the link to book a call, and we can talk about it.
And also, let's see, how do you determine what your rent should be? This is a question from Sarah. Great question, Sarah. So, Jeremy, what's a good rule of thumb to determine rent?
Figure out where, well, just without knowing the market, right? Knowing nothing. Find out what market rent is. So get your baseline for that area. And then it really depends on the market, but in general, I'm a fan of going a little bit lower, going a little slightly lower than that. You get more applicants, and you can really get your pick of the most quality applicant. So how do you find out what market rent is? Baseline. Well, quickest way, there's three ways. Property management office in that area. Say, okay, I've got this property at XYZ address. I'm thinking about making it a rental property. What would you expect that I could rent this for, given this condition? And then call, and that can be the house you already own. That can be a house that you're thinking about buying. Call a few different ones, call around a little bit. You'll get a good idea. So that's method number one. Method number two, you can jump on Craigslist for that area. You can find out a pretty good idea pretty quickly doing that. And number three is if you're working with a realtor in that area too. But between those, pretty much in any market, you can find out what market rent.
Wonderful. Also, another attendee would like to know, Jeremy, how do you usually offer money to the seller in terms of percentage of house value? 70%, 60% of the value? What's the usual cutoff on how much we can offer? Great question, by the way.
Yeah, great question. That would be, it depends on the market you're in. It depends on the area you're in. In California, it's slightly higher, but more or less, just to give you like an idea, it's pretty much no more than 80%, even in California. That's pushing it for most parts of the country. Most of the time, it's like around 74, and then 70 is hard to get, or has been recently, like in the last couple of years. But then again, I'm also in a market where the price point, the house is 300, 400,000. So versus a market where, if you're in a market where a house is 100, 150,000, your percentage is going to slide down. You'll be closer, like below 70. You're going to want to be looking at stuff between 60, 65, 70% most of the time, and subtracting repairs from that, from whatever your percentage is. But those are kind of like guides. They call it, like, the 70% rule. It's a great baseline, but you got to really take into account, the actual dollar return you're looking at, how quickly our home's moving, the market specifics. And I see, Sarah was actually talking about the seller financing rent amount. How did I determine that? I basically just threw that out there. It depends. Sometimes I'll use like an interest rate, like I'll calculate, okay, based on a 7% interest rate, and then I'll back the number out from there. This one I basically just threw out there as it's on the low end of what market rent is in the area. I just kind of used what was on the low side as a first attempt. If they would have said no, I wanted more, then I could have gone up a little bit more from there. But I would say it's like on the low side of market rent is just kind of where I started.
Wonderful. And also, Jeremy, Mike would like to know, see what's your strategy moving forward in this COVID environment and market?
Moving forward, to keep on moving forward. It's been I mean, obviously been a interesting year. So things change so quickly, and it also depends like really on, the market, your specific geographic market, as opposed to, but then we've also got, the whole nation and everything, as well. What we've seen here, and we think I've seen overall in a lot of places, is not much inventory. There's buyers that want to take advantage of some of the lowest rates in history, and the houses that are available that are priced right, they're moving really quickly. Um, I'll continue to buy and continue to sell as we move forward into 2021, and I anticipate seeing probably, just the way things are looking, we're probably going to see some sort of correction, some sort of change. Will it be drastic? Don't know. Who can say? I don't have a crystal ball. I would bet on seeing something, because we're going to have people, we're going to ultimately see the effects of the ripple effects of what's going on, what's happened in the last 6 months. And that's going to start over the next probably 6 to 12 months. So, but we're here to help solve problems. As creative real estate investors, if I can help someone find a way to stay in their house, or if I can find a way to help them cash out with the equity they do have, and repurpose that into something that's going to get them a return, that's often a lot better solution than some of the other ones that they may end up with. So it's like we can serve a market that's increasing, decreasing, going sideways, going up and down, but it's really all about buying right and not overpaying. Even if the market itself is going down on a downward trend, as long as you buy low enough, even in 3 months from now, you're going to be able to exit at a price where, because beforehand you set yourself up to be able to, make the repairs you need and still price it aggressively, thinking ahead. I wouldn't buy things assuming an appreciating market right now. I would assume I'd be a little bit more conservative, but definitely get out there, still make offers, because people still need to buy houses. Interest rates are going to be low for a while, it looks like.
Wonderful. Well, Jeremy, we're going to be wrapping it up. It's going on 5 o'clock now, and we want to respect everyone's time. We said we would, cut it at 5, and I am putting in the chat right now your calendar link, and then that way people can reach out to you, make an appointment, and talk to Jeremy. He's here to help our Realty 411 community. He's the friendly flipper right here in my own backyard, and it's exciting to see the deals that he's doing. He's definitely doing a lot of deals here locally, and he has the strategies down pat that can really help forward your business in the market that you're in. So, Jeremy, would you like to conclude by saying any parting thoughts or any final words?
I appreciate the opportunity to be here. The biggest thing is that you just get out there and take action. Tomorrow is a new week. It's Monday. Use that to justify a reason for some positive change in your life, and get out there and get after it.
Awesome. Yes, I encourage everyone to go after your dreams. We're all active investors living our best life. And you know what? We're not done yet. We have many goals ahead. I have so many goals, as you know, in my profession as an investor. I'm going to be renewing my license as an agent. I want to really expand the media company as well. Oh, we all of us have so many goals, and I invite you to join us on this journey of self-improvement, of abundance, of reaching the maximum potential that we have in store in each and every one of us. And that's where I'm going to leave it off today. So I encourage you to visit realty411.com on a regular basis. We always post daily, so we could really educate you and get our messages out there. We also have REI Wealth Magazine. You can find that at reiwealthmag.com. So thank you, Dave Grimm, for helping us today. Would you like to say goodbye?
I would, Linda, and it's always a pleasure to be here. I'm glad we could keep the day flowing and make everything possible. Super excited to always listen to the great presenters that we bring on to these expo events, and just looking forward to the next one and the next one, and making sure the community has the tools they need to be successful, no matter what side of real estate they're working on. So
Well, thank you again, Dave. You did an amazing job. And, it seems like everyone has its own challenges. Today we had a little Zoom snafu, but hey, we got it back up and the diehard investors came back. And we appreciate your time, everybody. We really appreciate you sticking around and making the effort to rejoin our expo. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you.
closing out in 3, 2, 1.